Don't move.
Is it scary being an FBI agent?
The letter was left with the bodies. We have 10 letters like it over the past 30 years. And all of them signed with one word: Longlegs.
He'll kill. And kill again.
Oh, there she is. You could have played nice with me, but you didn't.
Put the gun down!
And now that has led to all of this.
Hello everyone, I am Sean and welcome once again to my Horror Corner. Let me apologize if you hear a lot of background noise on here. You might hear my roommate is playing video games online with friends and is loud as fuck. So if you hear him, I do apologize. We don't, yeah, well, we don't stay quiet much in this house. But yeah, so I apologize if you hear all of that. My dog is back here in the background. She's, well, I take that back. My dog was laying on the bed like 2 seconds ago. Now she vanished. So, yeah, don't know what's going on around here. Obviously, it's a hectic night. Thank you for watching the video today. I do appreciate that. Sorry for things being a little crazy there as we get ready to get started. But we are not going to talk about Leatherface. We're not going to talk about Texas Chainsaw. We've been doing that for a while. We finally finished and wrapped that up. So we are going to move on into some other things. Um, Real quick though, before I continue, as I said, thank you for watching. And to those of you that have hit the subscribe button, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it. It means so very much to me. So thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Hit that subscribe button for me. Like the videos, comment. I love having the interaction with people. So let me know what you think about the channel, about the videos, and about the movies that we talk about. I had really planned on trying to cover some new stuff once I finished up that Texas Chainsaw Massacre series. I had planned on, there were 3 movies that came out recently. They were all at a theater near me, and I really planned on watching and doing an episode on all 3 of those. I wanted to catch that new Peter Pan horror movie. Um, Hard Eyes, I think, was the name of the Valentine horror thing I wanted to see, and The Monkey that is out right now. But things have just been between me not feeling well for a little while and being kind of down and out, and then a friend of mine uh, got COVID and was sick, and so I ended up dog sitting for them, bringing their dog here and keeping an eye on their dog and taking care of it while they were uh, down for a while, and then just work and other things going on. It's just been hectic, and I don't feel like I have been to the movies in forever. So um, I'm gonna try to fix that. I love going to the movies. I love going to see the new stuff. I want to talk about the new stuff. So I am going to try to rectify that in the future. And I may still try to go see the monkey here in the next few days and get an episode of that up here as quickly as possible. But until then, we're going to move on and talk about some horror movies that came out last year that were bigger hits. And today we're going to be talking about Longlegs. Before though, I review Longlegs. I do want to show a couple of new collectibles that I picked up in the last few days. These were actually gifts to me. I didn't go out and get them, but someone purchased these for me as a gift, and it was very much appreciated. Um, this one was perfect considering what we just talked about. Um, and I may have shown it before. I don't remember. I may have had it on that last episode, but just in case I didn't, I'm going to show it now. So this Leatherface figure was picked up for me from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and like I said, since I just went through that whole series, that's a pretty cool addition to my collection. I really like it. I love these new figures that NECA has been putting out. I say new; they're probably not that new, but some of the newer ones. I have some Freddy ones. I have Jason. Um, I think I have a couple of Michael ones, and now being able to add a Leatherface one to my collection is very cool. They also picked me up another one of these Ultimate figures from NECA, um, and this one they picked up was Jigsaw from the Saw franchise. Another one that's very cool. I really like this as well. And again, I know the glare pops up and you don't get a good look at it, but yeah, I just wanted to show those. So two new additions to my collection, Leatherface and Jigsaw, and I'm super excited about both of them. So um, I just need to get some more shelves so I can continue to get some stuff put up and get pictures out there and show people some other stuff that I have. So I wanted to show that um, before we actually got into today's review. So as I mentioned, today we are going to talk about Longlegs that came out last year. The reason I picked this one, um, a friend of mine, Mariah, this is absolutely one of her favorite horror movies. She loves this movie. We went and saw it last year at the theater when it first came out, and it was her favorite movie of the year. Um, it's streaming now on Hulu. I think you can also rent it on Amazon Prime, but if you have Hulu, it's streaming for free. And she was watching it the other day, and I caught a little bit of it with her, and then I watched it again today, and I just thought this would be a good one to come on and talk about um, until I get a chance to get to the theater and check out some of this new stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about today is Longlegs. I think I did an episode on this on my previous YouTube channel that I had before. Um, or maybe, now that I think about it a little bit, actually I didn't. I talked about this movie when I did my favorite movies of 2024. I did have this movie in the top 10. Um, and we'll kind of get into I have kind of some mixed feelings about this movie, and I haven't actually picked my rating yet for this movie. I'm going to decide that as I go along and talk about this. So, yeah, let's talk about Longlegs, and we'll see what kind of decision I come up with while we do this. But uh, brief synopsis for the film: FBI agent Lee Harker is assigned to an unsolved serial killer case that takes an unexpected turn, revealing evidence of the occult. Harker discovers a personal connection to the killer and must stop him before he strikes again. I'm sure by now most people have seen this film. Again, if you haven't, it is streaming on Hulu. You can watch it there. Longlegs was released on July 12th, 2024, directed by Osgood Perkins, written by Osgood Perkins, produced by Dan Kagan, Brian Kavanaugh Jones, Nicolas Cage, Dave Kaplan, and Chris Ferguson. Cinematography was done by Andreas Orochi Tenjero. I know I just fucked up that name. Sorry about that. I'm terrible with names. Edited by Greg Nage and Graham Fortin. Music by Zilji, I'm assuming is how you pronounce that. Production companies were Traffic, Range Oddfellows, and Saturn Films. It was distributed by Neon, has a runtime of 101 minutes. Budget was a little less than 10 million, and at the box office it made 126.9 million. So, huge hit at the box office last year. Rotten Tomatoes score 86% from critics and a 61% from the audience, so good scores as well. In reading through some of the critics' reviews and even things that the audience said, there were a couple of things that stood out that I was seeing um, mentioned by multiple people, and so those kind of a couple of ones I want to point on real quick. Critics, again, 86%, very high score from the critics. Um, the things that seem to stand out the most from a lot of the critic reviews is Nicolas Cage's performance got a lot of praise. Um, Several critics mentioned that this was Osgood Perkins' best film so far, and a lot of people thought, or a lot of the critics thought the movie was very horrifying and very unsettling. I think unsettling is a good word for this movie. I don't think it's a horrifying film. I don't think it's scary. I think unsettling is a good word for it. Audience, though, however, 61% is still a pretty good score, but I was a little surprised in some ways. When I was kind of looking at different takes from that, and the audience really seemed to praise the performance of Nicolas Cage, just like critics. They also praised the performance of Micah Monroe, a lot of praise towards the cinematography, but at the same time, there were a lot of comments about the movie being boring and dull. Um, I kind of think I see why a little bit. I'm not going to tell you whether I agree or disagree yet, but I kind of think I see why. Because even the runtime on this movie, 101 minutes is not bad. This movie feels much longer than 101 minutes to me. In fact, when I read that, when I was putting my notes together today to record this tonight, um, I was shocked. I had to go back and look at that again because I thought that can't be right. The runtime definitely seemed longer than that to me. So I can kind of see. I do feel like there are a few things, just to briefly get ahead of myself, in this film that drag just a little bit. But the cast for the film, we have Micah Monroe as FBI agent Lee Harker, Nicolas Cage as Longlegs, Blair Underwood as Agent William Carter, Alicia Witt as Ruth Harker, Agent Carter's mother, uh, Dakota Dalby as Agent Fisk. I always mess up this name every time I pronounce this actress's name. I feel terrible. Kiernan Shipka as Carrie Ann Camera, Ava Kilders as Ruby Carter, and Carmel Amit as Anna Carter. Um, a couple of behind the scenes things that we'll talk about first before I really kind of break it down and give my opinion of it. But so Osgood Perkins, the son of Anthony Perkins, who was famous for playing Norman Bates in the Psycho films, couple of things he mentioned that I thought were interesting about this film. One, the plot twist or device or whatever you want to call it there of evil dolls that cause fathers to murder their daughters that was loosely inspired, according to Osgood Perkins, by the killing of John Benet Ramsey. Um, his quote was is that one Christmas present that the John Benet's parents had gotten for her was a life-size replica doll of herself, and that the doll was in a box in the basement, 15 feet from where she was killed. When he found this information out, he said there was something just so insane about it that he immediately cataloged it in his brain and knew it was something that he was going to come back to and use somewhere. And so that's where he got some of the inspiration for these evil dolls for this film. He also mentioned that the film was inspired by the way his mother used to attempt to shield both the public as well as the Perkins children from his father's homosexual relationships. And his father, Anthony Perkins, who would die from complications from the AIDS virus. Um, Perkins just felt like that, mothers a lot of times will try to hide their children from things or shield their children from things that are um, they consider not right. And he drew some inspiration for this film from his own experiences as well for that. Um, Marketing for this movie, and I do remember this when the film came out last year. I feel like the marketing was very good for this film. They intentionally shielded Nicolas Cage's look as Longlegs. They wanted to hide that until people actually saw the film. Um, which I think was a good idea. I think that was good to do because when you first do get to see Longlegs, it is a little bit shocking. So I like the way marketing did that. They also put up billboards with phone numbers that people could call and listen to pre-recorded messages from Longlegs. I think I do remember seeing that actually. I never called it and listened to it, um, but I think I do remember seeing some of those and having you know after seeing the movie, I kind of wondered what those messages said. But um, if you were one of the people that did that, if you called and listened to the messages, let me know what they said. I'm very curious about that. But this was also Neon, who distributed, as I mentioned, Neon distributed this film. This film had the best opening weekend of any Neon film up to this point, and it's also become the highest grossing film for Neon. So, again, very successful film. Um, Let me start to get into my thoughts now on the movie and kind of share with you what I think because I really do have kind of some mixed thoughts and feelings on this film. Um, I will say initially that I think the performances in this movie are fantastic. I agree with the critics. I agree with the audience that talk about Nicolas Cage's performance as Longlegs is amazing. I think Micah Monroe does a great job. I really think everyone does a good job in this film. Everybody gives a very strong performance. So the the acting in this movie is fantastic. The cinematography is fine. I don't think there's. I mean, the film looks good. Um, I think there are parts that stand out maybe a little better than others, but the cinematography for the movie is good. I don't have a problem with it. One thing that I didn't like about this film, and I listen to, I watch some other horror movie YouTube channels, and I listen to some podcasts and things out there a lot, and um, I remember hearing the score get some praise as well. I will say I'm not a fan of the score for this film. I felt like it was a little too loud and a little too aggressive, and maybe it was intended to be that way to try to really startle you. Um, but I just felt like it was a bit much for me. And it's not that I don't like loud. Loud can be fine, but I just didn't like the way it was done for this film. I was not a huge fan of the score. But again, love the acting. Cinematography was good. I like the story and the plot for the most part, but there are a couple of things about it that bother me as well. Um, and we'll get into that here. The thing that really bugs me the most about it here in just a few minutes. But um, I like the opening of the film. I think that the opening is creepy when you get Longlegs talking to the little girl. Um, uh, and you finally get that reveal. I think that's done very well. I also like the scene when I saw this in theaters. I really liked the scene there where Agent Harper and her partner are looking, and she feels like the killer is in this house, and her partner's like, I don't think so. But then they decide to, our partner is going to check it out, and he goes to the door and knocks and ends up getting shot. Um, the first time that really catches you by surprise and really does startle you a little bit. And I again really like the way it the way that I like the beginning of this film. I guess is what I'm trying to say, with the long legs opening and then this scene here where this FBI agent gets shot. I thought the film was off to a great start. Um, it doesn't have quite the same impact when you rewatch it. Now that you know it's coming, I mean that's pretty common. Once you know something's coming, obviously it doesn't have um, the impact. But I think that's one of the things that is causing me to try that I'm having a hard time with when it comes to rating this film is my opinion of it when I saw it the first time based on my opinion of it now. Because I don't feel like one of the biggest things for me when I rate movies, and I think I've talked about this before, but one of the biggest things for me when I rate movies is the rewatchability factor plays a huge part in my rating. Because the perfect example for me on what I mean is a movie like Hereditary. Um, I saw Hereditary in theaters, and I don't want to make this about Hereditary, so I'll make this very brief. But I saw Hereditary in theaters, and when I walked out of the theater, I was like, wow, that was a really good film. I really liked that movie. I liked the way they did so many things in that movie. I thought the performances were great. I thought that it had some great jump scares. There was a lot about that movie that I really liked when I saw it in the theater. Um, when I went to rewatch it sometime later, and I don't remember if it was streaming on something or what was happening, but I just remember rewatching it and being really excited to rewatch it. Um, I did such a 180 on that film. I was so bored watching it that second time because it just wasn't having that same impact for me. And I've talked before as well about I like for my horror movies to be fun. And it's not a fun movie. And so that really changed my opinion on Hereditary. It was just like night and day for me when I saw it the first time in the theater, then watching it later at home. I sense a little bit, not to the same degree, but a little bit of that with this film as well, because um, when I saw it in the theater, I walked out, and even though I thought that it felt a little bit long, and even though there were some parts that seemed to drag a little bit, overall, I still really enjoyed it. Um, and it was different. It was something different than what you see all the time. And so I really liked it. I've attempted to rewatch this movie a few times and not made it all the way through because it just doesn't have that same impact upon rewatch. It feels a little slower. It feels a little longer. It just doesn't have that same impact, and it's not a fun movie to watch either. So, in my opinion, so that plays a huge uh, part in my ratings. Like I said, I like for my horror movies to be fun. Now, maybe I have an odd definition of fun, but I like watching Jason and Michael and Chucky and Freddy and Ghostface and Leatherface and Jigsaw and these kind of people. I like watching them do their thing. These movies like Hereditary and Longlegs are not fun horror movies, and so it's different for me watching them. The rewatchability is just not quite there, and it hurts the rating a little bit. Um, but back to the film itself. When Agent Harker figuring out everything again, I think Micah Monroe's performance is very good. I just think her character is very odd. Um, again, I like the story. I like the plot. You know, the way they figure out that these 9-year-old 9-year-old daughters who are all born on the 14th of the month are being murdered within 6 days of their birthday, either before or after. Um, her boss and her realizing that she's got some kind of a, a tie-in to Longlegs and there's something going on there. Um, the scene where she's talking to her mother on the phone in her house and you see someone in her house behind her, I think that's shot very well. I like that scene. I think it's intense. Um, but once they get into discovering that these dolls have these metal balls, orbs, or whatever they're called, in their head, and that it's these metal orbs that are sending out this energy that's causing these fathers to act the way they're acting and end up killing their families and then killing themselves. I don't like that. That just seems so odd to me. The movie does deal with the occult. Longlegs, when he is captured, he talks about working for the man downstairs. That's all fine. I think that maybe I think it would have been better personally if they would have leaned more into a possession side of it with that. I think, if he's going to be involved in the occult, then let him put some kind of spell on these dolls, and so then that transforms to the fathers. Just the whole metal orb thing I thought was weird and takes me out of it just a little bit. I remember that being one of the few issues I had when I saw it in the theater, and that being an issue that stands out even more to me now. Um, but again, from there, Lee does find out that her mother had filed a police report. I was trying to think back. Yeah, her mother had filed a police report when she was 9 years old of a stranger approaching her. Um, they discovered that it was Longlegs, and so Longlegs gets arrested. When she's talking with him, then he begins to hint at her mother being involved in what he's doing, and also talking about the occult and that kind of thing. And then he ends up committing suicide and killing himself. And they also find out that the one survivor that they had spoken with in the hospital, a girl named Carrie Camera, had also, after they had visited with her in the hospital, had also killed herself. Um, we then get things pick up and get a little hectic. Um, Agent Harper and a partner, another agent, go to visit with her mom. She ends up seeing her mom kill this other agent. Um, her mom tries to uh, destroy a doll, I think, that Lee had. We finally, we get the whole backstory of Longlegs making a deal with her mom that if she assisted him in what he was doing, that he would not kill Lee, and so her mom had become part of this thing, and she would dress as a nun and take these dolls to people's houses, basically, and then the things would happen from there. Um, Agent Harper then takes off to her boss's home. It's about to be her boss's daughter's ninth birthday, and she knows that something's going on, and she wants to try to stop it. But once she gets there, she finds that her mother is there, and it's already happened. There's a doll there of the little girl, and the father ends up killing the mother. He then starts to attack the girl, and Agent Harper kills him. The mother then starts to attack, and she ends up having to kill her own mother. um, the very end of the film there, where then she tries to destroy the doll and her gun won't go off, and then she kind of gets a very odd look on her face and tells the little girl that they have to go, and that's it. The movie ends. It made me wonder. I might have been reading too much into it, but I was trying to figure out if they were saying that she was starting to become possessed, for lack of a better word, as well, or was she just getting the little girl and getting out of there? It just played a little questionably to me. And I haven't heard one way or the other whether that was the intent or not. Um, all of that to say, so going through this movie, there are things that I like and things that I don't like. Again, love the performances. I like the basic story. I just wish it could have been changed up a little bit. Um, I think it is a very unsettling movie. It's not scary, but it does give you a very unsettled feeling at times. Um, there are a lot of good things about this film. There's just a few little things that bother me, and the fact that I don't consider it a real fun movie to watch. It's not something. I'm not saying I'll never watch it again, but it's not something I'm going to put on all the time, or have as background noise like I would with a Jason movie or a Freddy movie, a Michael movie, something like that. I watch just about every movie in all of those franchises at least once every year. Um, I don't see me doing that with Longlegs. It's just not my type of film. Good movie, a lot of good things about it, just not my type of film. I think really is where I land on it, and so I don't want to rate it too low because it is a good film. And again, the performances are amazing, the story's good, um, but I don't want to rate it too high because it's just not my thing. So I think for me, on my scale of 1 to 5, a lot of times I say that if a movie is just a good movie or an average horror movie, I give it a 3. Um, I feel like this deserves a little better than that. But again, it's just not my type of movie. So I don't think I should go as high as a 4, which I consider very good. So I'm going to go right in the middle. I'm going to go a 3.5 on Long Legs. That's my thoughts. I want to know what you think. So if you've seen this movie, let me know what you think about it. Do you really love this film? Is it not your type of thing either? I want to know your thoughts and opinions on Long Legs. Um, yeah, and so once again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. For those of you that have, thank you very much. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you think about the movie. Let me know what you think about the channel. Subscribe. Follow me on social media. You can find me on um, Blue Sky, Instagram, X, TikTok, even Letterboxd. So uh, look me up, Sean's Horror Corner, on social media. Give me a follow, and I'll be back in a few days, either with an episode on The Monkey, if I can get into the theater in the next few days and watch that. If not, then I'm going to talk about another film from 2024, Abigail. So it'll be a surprise. We'll see which one's coming next, but I'll be back in a few days to talk about one of those two. Until then, thank you again, and I'll see you soon.